So, maybe you've been on eBay and you've ordered yourself a cheap, no-name, Chinese-made GRBL CNC machine. Or maybe you've forked out a little bit more money and got something like an Ox CNC or a WorkBee kit. And now you're scratching your head wondering, how do I use this thing? But you're in luck, because in this video I'm going to show you how to use a suite of free software to do some basic CNCing. And I mean basic. All I'm trying to do here is get you started on your CNC journey without overcomplicating things. Anywho, I was up early this morning. It's got to be done, and being up early, I've brought a coffee into the shop with me. Now I'd love to put this coffee down on my bench here, but there's a problem. My household has a strict policy on using a coaster, and well, my shop doesn't have one. I could throw caution to the wind and just put it down, no coaster, but somehow I think my wife would find out. And let me tell you, it's just not worth the risk. Luckily for me, I have a CNC machine. As my late Uma used to say, give a man a coaster and he has a place to put his drink. Teach a man to CNC, and he can make a coaster out of a piece of scrap and sell it for $40 on Etsy. So, to make a coaster, one must design a coaster. This step is called CAD. I'm going to do this using Inkscape. I'm going to be a little fancy pants and make my coaster a nonagon shape. The outer black line here is called the stroke. I like to get rid of this for outer cut and pocket operations, and just work with the fill. That's the blue section in this case. I lock the aspect ratio and make my coaster 80mm wide. I adjust the size of the page to include just the workpiece, and voila, my coaster is designed. But not so fast. If I was to cut this, all would go well until near the end of my cut. The coaster would break free from the source material, fly across the workshop, and probably get chewed up by the spindle in the process. So in other words, I need to hold it in place somehow. To do this, we use tabs. Tabs are a section of the material that remains uncut and holds the workpiece in place. You need to include these in your Inkscape design. For a shape such as this, I would use 3 tabs minimum. And with that, we complete the CAD. The next step is the CAM. We can do this using JS Cut. It's an online app that works directly in your browser. I import my coaster SVG file, configure the diameter of the cutting bit, the maximum depth my machine will cut in one pass, the speed the machine moves whilst not cutting, the speed the machine plunges into the material, and the speed the machine moves whilst cutting. I can also set the clearance height the spindle will go to whilst not cutting. This can be handy to avoid hitting clamps and so on. By default, the origin is the top left of the drawing. That can be changed too, and I'm going to make it the centre for this job. Now let's set up the tabs. First, specify a maximum cut depth. Usually you'll make this 1 or 2mm shy of cutting all the way through the source material. My source material is 3mm thick, so I'll use 1mm. Then select the tabs and create. Now I select my coaster. I want to cut the outside perimeter of my design, so I select the outside operation. I set my desired cut depth and generate. Now I can simulate the G-code. You can see here how it leaves the tabs. It also shows the expected runtime of the job. I'm going to save this G-code and meet you over at the CNC. Oops, how'd this get here? Put down a piece of flat scrap under your workpiece. Clamp down your workpiece and open up Universal G-code Sender. This is the software that drives your machine. I connect to the machine, home it, and load the G-code. You can see this wire diagram shows the instructions to cut my coaster. First you set the origin of the machine, in this case the centre of my coaster. For the Z-axis you can use a sheet of paper to adjust the height to within a hair of the workpiece. Now all that's left to do is run the job. Here's the result. I can just cut the tabs, give it a light sand, a quick oil, and well, I don't want to brag, but I've saved myself at least $1 by not having to buy a brand new coaster. There you have it, a very simple CNC project. Good on you for watching, and in my next video I'll go a little deeper into Inkscape and JS Cut. I hope to see you there.